For that first month before we have the first test, the iClicker questions are an opportunity for them to see literally questions I pull in from old tests. It's also a way to make the large lecture hall less unidirectional, where I'm just talking at them for 75 minutes. So it breaks things up. It gives them a chance to answer some questions. I get to see what they know. They get to see what they know or don't know. It works really well. It changes the dynamic in the room. Prior to using something like iClicker, basically I'll lecture, and as a bullet point went up, all of their heads would go down and they would write, and then they look up again, and I'd say some things, and I'd push another bullet point, and they were transcribing, and I'm like, that's not really going to help them learn. I'm going to need to do something else. So iClicker lets me do that.
I like to use iClicker for in-class participation and active learning activities, particularly when I'm working on peer instruction. When I have a particularly challenging question, I like to present it to the students as individuals. They open their iClicker, answer that question by themselves, and then I have them break off into groups, return to the same exact question using the group feature in iClicker. They have to come to a consensus within the group, and then we can see how their answers are then improving when they move from the individual to the group lesson. And then sometimes I add on a third question, which is similar to the original one, that they also have to answer individually. And you can see how individually their learning is improving as well as a result of the group peer instruction practice.
There's so much more to using iClicker. You can use it as a multiple choice question, short answer, numeric, target. If you are, say, a new instructor, you can always engage your students, and you can always use the strategy of think, pair, share. You can gauge the knowledge of the students, and then if you think that the students are not understanding, you can make an explanation, come back to it, re-poll. You can find out if they're really truly understanding what you as an instructor is telling them to do.
I used the exit poll in iClicker in my diversity and cross-cultural psychology class pretty much every week, because it helped me to gauge the key points, maybe things that we needed to circle back to the next week. I like to use it in terms of what's your most significant takeaway from today, because particularly in the context of diversity, they're all coming to it from different perspectives, and depending on their background and their lived experience, some of the students have a much clearer idea of the diverse ways we experience the world than others. And so looking at those exit poll answers from class to class really can help me gauge growth. And that's not a graded experience, but it's a really important part of the learning experience. Another way that a lot of instructors will use it is to gauge if they're really digging into a difficult concept. Phoenix uses the term the muddiest point. You can ask the students, what was the hardest thing for you to understand today? And then as the instructor, when you look at all of the answers, if half of your class is stuck on the same point, then you know that probably we're going to want to circle back to that and try to clarify at the next class meeting.
It's engaging the students. They won't be just the listeners, and I won't be the only person who talks. They have the opportunity to talk. They have opportunity to present their ideas authentically without any fear of being known or being judged or being exposed to the other class. So of course they would participate. In my classes, more than 95% of the students are participating, and that is the whole point. I want the class to be interactive and collaborative.